pretty much every single day, I am in a conversation with owners and business leaders of every size salon you can imagine. I'm so overwhelmed. I feel like I'm suffocating. I'm always working even when I'm home. Lauren, I feel like I'm failing at everything and I feel completely alone in it. Lauren, I just want my life back. I don't even know how I got here. So if you're listening right now and thinking, that sounds familiar, I want you to know you're not alone. And if I can just be very transparent with you, that was me too. I want to welcome all of our champions, and I want you to know what an honor it is to stand in front of such an incredible group of owners and leaders who have made such a powerful decision today to invest in yourself, in your people, and most importantly, in the future of your business, because that's what today is really about. It's about stepping into a new level of leadership, a new level of expectation, and a new level of results. Can I hear a big amen?
Amen.
Amen. All right. It's pretty much every single day I am in a conversation with owners and business leaders of every size salon you can imagine. And honestly, the story is almost always the same. Lauren, I'm so overwhelmed. I feel like I'm suffocating. Lauren, I don't have time for my family. I'm always working even when I'm home. Lauren, I feel like I'm failing at everything and I feel completely alone in it. Lauren, I just want my life back. I don't even know how I got here. So if you're listening right now and thinking, that sounds familiar, I want you to know you're not alone. And if I can just be very transparent with you, that was me too. For over 30 years, I thought that was just what success was supposed to look like and feel like, until I realized I had the great awakening one day of what if it doesn't have to be that way? And for me, it took a critical moment that almost took Inspiring Champions off the map to actually realize that. So I want you to know I was carrying the same weight, the same pressure, the constant mental load, the feeling that no matter how hard I worked, it was never enough. And I was exhausted. My husband and a few of my colleagues said something that put me to a halt. They said, "You seem different. You seem lighter, less stressed." So I didn't have an answer for them, but I'll tell you what, I started thinking about it. And all of a sudden I realized, you know what? I'm not feeling the weight like I used to. And as I was preparing for today, something shifted when I partnered with Heather and Lucy from Spark Pro Global. And I'll be honest, it didn't happen overnight, but slowly I started feeling the weight and the anxiety that I had been carrying, and I just felt it like melting off of me, the things that were draining me and overwhelming me and pulling away from the things I actually loved to do. They started getting taken off of my plate so that I could focus on the things I love doing most, that are my lane, that are my passion. Can anybody relate? And when I was in that space leads, space thinks, space to live, space to focus on the things that actually move the needle. That is where I want you to know we're going in this conversation today, to help you create more space, to have a more productive business and a life that you love. So what Spark offers isn't just support. It can be a complete game changer in how you operate, how you lead, and in how you live. Heather and Lucy are the co-founders of Spark Pro Global, which is a premier support virtual company helping high-performing business owners and leaders just like you reclaim their time and to delegate with confidence and to scale without burnout. They specialize in giving owners and entrepreneurs the ability to step out of overwhelm and back into leadership where you belong. I have the deepest respect and gratitude for these two incredible women. And I wanted you to have the opportunity to meet them, to hear their story, and to experience the impact they can have on your life like they've had on mine. So would all of you just put your hands together, even though we may not hear you, and I want you to welcome Heather and Lucy because it is truly an honor to have you here. So let's give them a big hand, champions. Hey, Miss Heather. Hi, Lucy. I love seeing your beautiful faces. I just love and admire both of you so much. And I want to thank you for the impact your company has had on inspiring champions and on freeing me up to live a more fruitful, abundant, and joy-filled life. And so, Heather, would it be okay if I start with you? Because I have a really pressing question that I think every owner here is going to think about and relate to, because at the end of the day, you're a salon owner yourself. And I want you to be blunt and honest with us. What did your day actually look like before you built a support system around you? Can you share with us what an average day was like?
Of course. And whether or not you like it, my dear, I'm only blunt and honest. So I'm actually joining you live from a little office that a salon I'm teaching at loaned me in Boston. And I find that these people on the East Coast, they're all blunt and honest and they're my people. So, and thank you so much for having us. We love and adore you as well and the work you're doing. When I first bought my salon a little over 5 years ago, I had been a stylist in the salon for over 18 years, worked with the same team, loved the people I worked with. And I knew a bit more of the ins and outs of the business than maybe a lot of stylists because I was helping with education. So I already had a pulse on it. But boy, oh boy, was I in for a surprise. I purchased a business that had amazing reputation and clientele, but not a lot going on as far as systems and structure and really a lot of business, practices going on. So it was very overwhelming that first year. And I'm not using hyperbole or exaggeration. I had panic attacks. I had times where I had so much anxiety and I feel it coming up in my chest and I would be so overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do. I was busy, what felt like nonstop. I think I was working probably 70 to 80 hours a week. It was insane. So I was behind the chair about 3 days a week. And then I was leading my team and then trying to unscramble like all of the crossed wires that had been left for me. Now, the person who owned it before was lovely, but just not business savvy.
Mm-hmm.
I was drowning, honestly. I remember going to bed and, just finally going to bed at 10:30 or 11 at night. And then as soon as my head would hit the pillow, I would start to fall asleep. I would like jolt awake 5 minutes later. Did I forget to cancel that appointment? Did I remember to pay that invoice? Oh my gosh. She asked for vacation time. Did I block her out for her sister's wedding? I'm talking for a year. It really was like that. There were a lot of things I started learning from my business coaches and people that I would study from and friends in the industry. And I would do some of them sometimes, and then I would drop the ball because I just did not have the support to keep going. I had a great team. I had a front desk manager. I had an assistant program, but I was kind of doing all of it. And it wasn't until I started outsourcing that I started getting control. And even then it was overwhelming for the first few months because I didn't even know what to delegate. I was like, help me, but I don't know what I need yet. So honestly, it looked a lot like drowning, but like drowning with a little more stress. It was bad, honestly. And I mean, I loved what I did. I loved my teams, but like, it was just very, very overwhelming. I felt like I couldn't sleep. I was checking my phone compulsively for fear I dropped the ball. And honestly, I did drop the ball quite a bit. There's a lot of things I forgot to add or fix and I had to go back and change clients around, basically that was my life for at least the first year of owning the salon.
It is a very anxious place to be because inside our inner critic is just always saying we just always feel like we're failing because we just can't give 100% to everything. And it's the worst feeling. And I think many, many owners of businesses experience it and feel it. And thank you for your transparency. But I want to know, what was the moment you realized that doing everything yourself wasn't serving you? It wasn't ambition, that it was actually holding your business back. When was that critical moment where you said, enough?
I mean, I wish I was kidding, but I had to go into my office, and my salon director is a good friend of mine. And it was when I was in the fetal position in my office, mid client, and I was like, my chest feels tight. I can't breathe. It's called a panic attack, by the way. And I was like, I can't do this. I mean, I knew it was building for a while, like this is not sustainable, but it was really then that I was like, something has got to change. I was sleep deprived and stressed out of my mind, and I wasn't even living my own life. Not only was I doing a 50% job at work, but I was doing a 20% job at home. So I think at that moment, I also realized I was like, no one else is going to walk my dog or take care of my kids. I need to live my own life, and I need to figure out a way to have some delegation around work, some boundaries around the balance. I don't need to be checking my phone every night at dinner. I felt like I was always compulsively checking my schedule, my phone, my texts, my team app. So I would say that was like a solid year in, and I needed help. And man, I'm glad I did. And even when I realized I needed help, I've got to be honest here as well. It wasn't like, and then the next day I woke up and I had 45 systems in place and everything was perfect and I handed it over. It was like a several months long process to unwind that and start to parcel out who can take this piece, who's a good fit for this component, who can step into this role. That was a several month process.
Yes. Well, we're going to be talking about delegation, which is a big thing for all of us as owners. But I want to keep going a little bit deeper here with you, Heather. So you had your big epiphany. Life isn't working. This isn't working. I don't like how I feel. I don't want to live like this another moment. And I think the starting point of any change or any success is to decide that I will no longer live like this, to put the stake in the ground and say no more to the way it is looked. And we talk a lot at Inspiring Champions about working on the business, not in it. But what does that actually look like in a salon day to day practically?
Well, to start off with, identifying leaders on your existing team who has a passion for mentoring, who has a passion for education. I even have people on my team who sort of showed up and they had a little extra flair for party planning and celebration. And I have a relatively small team. We have 12 chairs, and many of our stations are split shift, which I think is common now. And so I started off with a team meeting and just said, and like, I think I handed out a survey and said, would you be interested in teaching leadership roles, further something else in your career? And I had a few people who were like, I would love to teach. And other people thought, well, I'm not good on, in front of other people, but I'd love to take over, helping the new stylists and mentor them one-on-one. So I just started identifying who had passion and talent for certain other aspects of the industry. And it started off with that. And then also identifying a few key tasks that I wasn't great at. Let's be real, there was many of those things. And identifying that I needed to hire someone that I outsourced to for marketing, for social media. And at that point, when I started realizing I need to start outsourcing more, I lined up my internal team of existing people with a few extra steps of like, you can start doing this piece for me. And then I started making protocol processes and kind of an outline for my brand voice and what I needed as a salon owner so that I could start to delegate to my marketing team or to other people who I outsourced to. So that's really how it looked to start with. And I would say relief came pretty quickly after I started getting those people set up to help me.
Well, all of us as owners, we know that it is vital, it's necessary, quite honestly, essential to have structure and processes and systems in place. The thing that stops us so often is the time it takes to get it in place, starting from ground zero. So that's usually what stops many of us. But if you could share with all of our owners and leaders joining us, what are the tasks that you see salon owners doing every day that are genuinely below their pay grade, that they really should not be doing?
The truth is, so many of these tasks.
Let's hear about some of these. And I hope everyone's taking copious notes, because awareness is also the starting point of success. This is about, let's just be real today. Let's remove some blindfolds. Let's get in the trenches and just look at what can I do differently to get more life, more joy, more fulfillment. So give us the list. Bring it on. We're ready. We've got our big boy girl pants on and we can take it.
Hey, you guys are ready for this. Anything that it was scheduling. You should not be answering emails, booking inquiries, handling invoices, Google reviews, Yelp reviews, social media, posting, engaging, commenting, none of it. If you want to get on social media and scroll around because it's fun for you, keep doing it. I'm not gonna be the boss of what you do with your time, but I would encourage you to think about when you're making top dollar, doing whatever it is you're best at, whether it's leading a class, recruiting a new hire. If you're like, once I get this person up and running, they're worth X amount to me an hour, and this is how much I would make if I did that. I want you to look at that hourly amount that you would be making doing your highest skill set, and then look at all of the other things. I'm going to give you a clue. Most of it has to do with a computer, a laptop, or your phone. All the things you're doing on these devices that don't have to do with the interpersonal or the art or the leadership. Think about how much you would be earning if you were doing your top level skill set. Would you pay someone that much money to answer your email, to handle your booking, to answer, booking requests online, your reviews or Instagram? The likelihood is no. So I would say those are very kind of low-hanging fruit. And I'm not saying it's the easy, like those are super easy tasks all the way, but a lot of them are more repetitive, more kind of copy and paste that you can start to get into a process of and that someone else can handle. So essentially, if it puts you behind a laptop or a screen, the chances are it's not your highest skill set, and that's something you should try to delegate sooner than later, I would say.
Yeah.
So it's like a starting.
That might be causing some anxiety to people, because they're over in their world going, how would I not do this? Because we think nobody could possibly do it better. And so even though we all know we need to do this, why is letting go, Heather, so emotionally hard for us owners?
Most people find letting go to be difficult because they're so invested, because we're in an industry where we care and we pour into others and we're emotionally connected. And so each piece of the business, most of us, we curated, we nurtured, we envisioned, we dreamed about, we put into play. And like all these beautiful pieces, these balls that are emotion are from our own passion and care. These are like babies that we have grown, we've nurtured from a little tiny seed into this full grown idea. So it's very hard to be like, and now you can take care of this plant or this tree that I've grown, right? And I think it's very hard too, because let's be honest, you're a business owner for a reason. You probably are incredibly ambitious. You probably have a really sharp idea of what you want. You're probably very discriminating. You're probably incredibly driven and conscientious. I mean, the chances are if you have the gumption to lead a business, you have a lot of those things going for you. And it's hard to imagine someone else being as detail oriented or following through. And I'm going to say something that might not be what you want me to say, but I promise to be honest. There are things that people probably can't do as well as you. But to implore anybody who's listening to please not let perfection be the enemy of progress. Just because I can clean a window and cleanser a sink better than anyone I know, true story. Just because that's true doesn't mean that's what I should spend my time doing. So there are things that you need to be done to a very specific standard. Outline them. Line it up, make it ready to go. But there's some things that you can let be good enough, And so like, that is going to give people a little stress, but I'm going to encourage you to go for like the most low hanging fruit and trust the process and just see what opens up for you as a result.
Those are very excellent words of wisdom. And for those of us who are perfectionists, that's a hard one. But what do you believe is the real cost of not delegating beyond just time? What do you think it's costing businesses in revenue, in team culture, and in their personal well-being? What would you say about that, Heather?
I've got to be honest. it's so hard to calibrate because, I mean, what does it cost? Stomach ulcers, sleepless nights, and stress is legitimately, I mean, quite honestly, the leading cause of death in the United States. And it's hard to imagine, but every little extra thing that you have spinning as an open tab in your brain is just extra stress that's building. So unquantifiable, your health and well-being. Another thing that's hard to quantify would be quality time with the people you love, whether it's connect with your partner, your children, your neighbor, your best friend. Like that, I cannot calibrate, even if it's to get home, to walk your dog, to just enjoy dinner in peace and quiet, whatever that looks like. Those are some costs that I can't really quantify. But if we're going to go to actual numbers, I can tell you right now that my retail to service numbers and my overall business volume and margins have doubled, if not more, since I've begun to delegate. So if you're doing a business that's worth $1 million a year, like my salon does, which is it's a medium small salon, and your profit margin was hovering at 5%, or like when I bought my salon, 1%, 2%, I don't even know. And you're making no money on working $1 million business. And if that 8, 9, 10, 15, 20%, that's real money and real numbers. So in the case of my business, doubling retail, not doubling, actually more than doubling my profit margin, you're going to look at that and go, that was costing me about $100,000 just in my business alone annually. And not to mention, I get to go to my kids' musicals and sports events or award ceremonies and attend to them more often because I have flexibility. So that stuff I can't put a dollar amount on, priceless, but just about 100,000 a year.
Wow. Well, that is amazing. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you, Heather, because I know, you're recently a single mom, and owners juggle so many hats. They're an owner, they're a parent, they're a significant other. Many of them work behind the chair or in the treatment room. They have teams of people they're managing, coaching, and mentoring, and clients. And it's just this overwhelm's got to be unbelievable. And all of you, I know everyone that's on this, all of you do it so beautifully. You wear the Superman cape, the Superwoman cape so beautifully. We put on that happy mask. My leg's working, nothing's wrong, everything's perfect. Woohoo! And inside, we're like the duck that looks pretty going across the water, but you look underneath the water and it's going a million miles an hour. It's little feet. And that's what most of us do. And so I'm so excited about the freedom that my team of 7 people with you has made in my life for a fraction of the cost I was paying 2 individuals. And that's been such a game changer. So Heather, congratulations on your change. This has been such a powerful foundation around leadership and delegation. But now I want to shift into what I'm going to call the hidden engine of the salon. I consider that to be the marketing, the systems, and the data that most owners are sitting on, but not fully using. So if it's okay with you, Heather, I am going to go over to your beautiful business partner and good friend, Lucy, because I know this is Lucy's passion and the world she lives in. So Lucy, when you first opened the hood on a salon's marketing and software, share with us, what do you typically see and find?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. Usually it is not consistent. So when we start to partner with a salon, it all comes down to looking at, okay, what are your goals? And a lot of times they might not know their goals, or it's too broad, or they're not quite sure where to start with those goals. So just looking at KPIs and being able to pull that information from your salon software, that's a really good place for a Spark Assistant to start helping you with. Instead of you taking an hour out of your day to figure out how the rebooking went the day before, how were product sales the week before that, how is the stylist doing on time? So just really having a good check and pulse on all of those numbers all the time without having to pull it or log into your computer and then go to the dashboard and get the right dashboard out. So just having a really good pulse on how your stylist and salon is doing. And then from there, being able to document those goals, and you have a really good understanding of why you want to reach those. And then from there, starting with marketing and just creating that content calendar for the year, those themes, the promotions, the education to back all of that up. So really just having a good foundation of why you're doing what you're doing.
Got it. That is very excellent. And the reality is, pretty much everyone who's on here, all of you have excellent tools, email marketing, loyalty programs, and texting inside your software.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm on the call, like I said, every day with some of the top owners there are in our country, in our industry. And whether you're a little tiny small salon or a mega one, most of these owners are barely using all these things they have access to. And I'd love for you to share with us, Lucy, why does that gap exist? What do you believe the truth is around that?
A lot of it just comes with not knowing where to start. Like you said, the email marketing, text marketing, social media, the loyalty programs, the newsletters. It's also important within this industry to build that relationship and trust. And the only way to really be successful in doing that is to be consistent. So, like I said, they don't quite know where to start. Like, what should we talk about? And then, once that established, keeping consistency and getting all of those things out on a weekly basis, a daily basis. And so, as you mentioned, it can be really easy within the salon softwares that are available for the industry and make it a lot more fun. And so when there is meaning behind what you're doing, then it can be so powerful to your community.
Wow. So what I'm hearing, Lucy, you help business owners put their marketing plan together with a strategy and then how to maximize the software they have to get the optimal results. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yes. And then, being able to track
That's huge.
doing it. Yes. And seeing, okay, this did that. And so we're going to do that. That, didn't quite work. So we're going to pivot. So just having the insights to how everything's working for you also. And, what's really exciting is, just being able to strengthen your brand through this marketing, and being able to really showcase everything that you are doing inside your salon. And that not only goes for recruitment, but it also goes with, new guests coming in, recruitment. So helping bring in new stylists, new assistants, helping also with just building the morale, helping create that retention for your stylist on board as well.
Wow, that is fantastic. And the reality is, it's not that we can't do this. It's not that we won't. For most of it, it's just getting out of the starting blocks. How do we get started? How do we start? And it's just having that guiding light to bring us along the way. So it's so exciting what you are doing. And I'm curious, what do you believe? What are the KPIs salons should be tracking that most owners have never looked at? And what do those numbers actually tell you about revenue?
Yes. So a big one is really the product sales as well. So when you take a look at the numbers that you want to meet, and maybe you want to even see an increase, or just helping the stylist being able to educate to really sell, that can really start with marketing. So giving them those tools that are needed. So what we like to do and what's been really successful is, picking a product line or something specific within a theme for that month, and really starting with, okay, can the product rep come in and talk to our stylist about this? Let's get some signage. Let's have some signs in the break room so that they can talk about this product. And then let's send an email campaign about what this product is. Let's put it on social media. So your guests, your community, they're seeing you talk about this product 6 or 7 times. And that's the minimum that they really need to be able to see something to take action. And so when you're able to really be strategic and consistent, then you're going to be able to see a return on, that goal that you're going to make. So for instance, that product sales, and we've seen salons increase their product sales between 12 to 20%, just being consistent and having it on social media, email marketing, text marketing, signage in the salon. The stylists know how to talk about it. It's on your Google business profile. It's on your website. And so just being able to have all of these different avenues very consistently reflecting your goals is how you're going to start to see the needle move.
Hey, business owners. Yes, you. I know you're juggling it all. Marketing, admin tasks, websites, podcasts, social media. The list never ends. That's where Spark comes in. We're a virtual assistant company built just for small business owners, because once you're able to delegate, we know you'll be able to dominate. Our clients are seeing up to 30% increase in social media engagement and sales, all by letting us handle the behind the scenes work. Not to mention an incredible boost in flexibility, profit, and time. So scan the QR code right now to schedule a free chat with my team. Let's make you efficient AF and help you focus on what you do best, growing and leading your business.
It's interesting how that was the one thing you brought up that salons should be tracking that most owners aren't looking at. What I always hear from owners is, oh, my people, they just won't sell. I just, we're just so low in retail. But what you just said is so key, because this marketing campaign can do the work for you. And retail is so healthy for our business for many reasons. One, it's your highest profit margin. We make a 35 to 45% profit on retail. And the beautiful thing about retail, it doesn't call in sick. It doesn't cop an attitude. It doesn't get MS. It doesn't have a bad day. It just makes us money. And if we get creative in our marketing through social media and e-blast and our website, it can be your greatest moneymaker, because service doesn't really make profit anymore. It's very low. And so I love that. Now, I love it, Lucy, if you could walk us through a real example of what happens when a Spark assistant digs into the data and finds a hidden revenue opportunity. Can you share a real example about that?
Yes, definitely. So one example would be for rebooking. So the Spark Assistant got into the salon software and saw that some of these guests they were coming in for the first time, but not rebooking for the second time. And so taking a look at, okay, what is the experience for them in the salon? They loved it. They were so happy. They had nothing but great things to say, but why didn't they rebook? So looking at not only, who those stylists were there any common traits, maybe we can shift and get them some education. So just having a pulse on that gives when the salon owner isn't, bogged down with tasks in front of the computer, they can take those analytics and go out onto the floor and strengthen their team, give them that education. So that's been really monumental in helping salon owners do something that is higher above their pay grade than sitting at the computer, checking email, rebooking appointments online, things like that. But then taking it one step further with the marketing. So did the guests that came in, did they get an email to rebook? Did they get your newsletter? Did they hear about the promotion for the next week? Or did they hear about an enhancement that would really, improve the hair health? Really just talking about why they need to come back in. So just being really strategic and specific of how you're retouching those people that you've invested to come into the salon for the first time has been really powerful. And then, just getting also the very targeted type of email campaigns. So when they come into your salon and they don't rebook, okay, let's send them an email. And it's not just saying, hey, we miss you. It's, hi, Lucy, you had a wonderful cut and color and you had the enhancement for the gloss. It's been 6 weeks. Your hair would love to have that again. It'll extend, your color for another 2 weeks. Just giving them more strategic and specific ways to come back in has really been powerful. So with Spark, you're getting a team that knows the industry, who is really passionate about helping the industry and salon owners. And then they're very experienced and educated in doing the type of things that you want them to do, whether it's email marketing or social media or website, new landing pages, things like that.
Well, kind of, if I had to wrap this up, what I'm hearing, it's not just about you helping them to save more time, but you're also helping them to create more revenue.
Yes.
Very exciting. So let's say we have a salon owner who's just completely overwhelmed by emails, by marketing, by social media. They're having those Calgon tip me away moments. Where do you tell them to start?
Yes. And it goes back to what Heather was talking about, creating that list of, okay, what are you doing in your daily schedule? And so when you build out that list, and maybe they're spending a lot of time doing the schedules for the salon, pulling different reports, trying to remember the stylist's birthdays and sending them gifts, just coordinating between different shifts. So if that's where you're spending a lot of your time, then we would say, okay, let's start with the Spark assistant who is an executive assistant, and let's get them to do those tasks for you at the computer. And then usually that will evolve into, helping with social media. So being consistent with that on your platforms. And then, going into email marketing and newsletters. So it's really great to just start and write out the list of tasks that you're doing throughout the day, and you'll see where you're spending your time. And then saying, okay, that is not the best use of my time. Someone else could be doing this, for a fraction of the cost, and I could be doing this instead.
Well, I have to tell you, you said something that sparked, no pun intended, something for me. And I have my meeting every Tuesday morning with my fabulous Spark team of 7. And I just want to say, I genuinely love these people. I am very, very endeared to them. They are so polite. They always make me feel special. They never make me feel wrong. When I do come and I'm overwhelmed and don't know how to communicate effectively what I need help in, they're just so patient. They're so kind. And you hear from them. The response time is unbelievable. It's almost sometimes feels too fast. Like I need a little time to process. And I just love them. So thank you for the people you assigned to me. And I hope they always know how much they mean to me and the difference they've made in my life. So I have just 2 quick questions that I want to put out there to both you and Heather. I don't know which of you feel more inclined to answer this, but my first one would be, so if we have someone who's watching this and they want to start delegating this week, it's now o'clock. What are the first 3 things they should hand off? If you could give them 3 things to start delegating, what would those be?
The first thing, oh yeah, go ahead, Heather. You go first.
My thing, you probably have a better list. I was going to say, like, my thing, and this is how I find out when we do our consultations or when we talk to our Spark clients, it's give me a list of the things that you always put off until like, oh, it's due right now. Because everybody, it's a little different. Like some people love getting on social media, even if they're kind of slow and bad at it. That would be me. But other people might be like, I avoid like the plague looking at Google or doing these certain things. So I usually tell people to kind of like, think about those things that pop up that you like avoid the most, the longest. That's how I start to make a list. But we do have a list of like the most common things to hand off right away. So go ahead, Lucy, with that. But that was what I was going to say.
Well, I think our listeners right now should take a second and write down what are those things.
Yeah.
We would rather stick needles in your eyes than do it.
Go ahead, Lucy. No.
Where we go in our head is, oh, but no one could do it as good as me. It would take time to train them. And you know what? It does take time to train them. And I'll be honest with you, Lucy and Heather, that it stretched me at first because I got this team of incredible 7 people and they specialize in different things. One does all of our marketing e-blast. That's 2 people on that. We have a person that specializes in our champion vault. We have 2 people that specialize in our website. I have 1 person that does admin. I have 1 person that is doing our social media. So it took me a while to really wrap my head around who is doing what. And then it felt very overwhelming at first to get them all trained because we were new to them. They were new to us. And so you have to understand it's no different than bringing on a new team member. There's this transition. There's this get to know each other phase we go through. And so it was challenging at first. Just being honest, and I spoke that. I didn't hide it. But I'll tell you, once everything, started to settle, it fell into this beautiful flow. And now I know exactly who to email for what. I know exactly who I can count on. I know exactly who to get by whens from. And I'm very good about you can't just give somebody a task. You must get a by when. And a by when, they might go, oh, by next week. That's not a by when. Okay, great. What day next week? Tuesday. Fantastic. What time next week? Oh, end of day. Great. What would that look like? 5 o'clock. Okay, so next Tuesday by 5 p.m., you can get this to me. Do you see anything get in the way? Like we have to be able to be strong in our delegation and really working with them and getting strong by whens, because now there's a clear picture of where we're going and when we have to be there by. And they get to tell you what works for them. And I'm amazed sometimes how your people go, well, I can have that to you today. And I'm thinking maybe a week or 2 from now, and they're going today. I go, well, thank you. You're my biggest hero. Oh, what time today? I always get a by when, because that's just a strong coaching skill we learn, but it's also strong leadership skill, especially when you're delegating. And so I want to know, Lucy, were there any other things you want to add to that list as we start to wrap up here?
Yeah. So
we should hand off.
Yes, a really great place to start is what we've seen is with even social media. I have a girl, she's doing in the salon, she's doing it fine. She really likes it, but she's not always doing it. And so I'll say, okay, let's start with social media. So you have a person in the salon, perfect. That's going to be our point of contact. And so we work with them and we do all of the strategy. You have a content calendar. We have themes that we're going after, really great pillars. And then we're working with them to get the content so that everything that we create and edit, it's all your experience, your brand. And we're just very, very strategic about that. And it's consistent. And then, with that can be, well, we do email marketing, we'll send out a newsletter. Sometimes we'll do a text message, but then we say, okay, well, what about a weekly availability email? Well, what's that? So every Monday, your clients who haven't been in the past 6 weeks, they don't have an appointment coming up, they get an email of open slots for the week. It costs nothing for you to send it out. But when it goes out, it can bring in, between $600 to $1,000 worth of appointments just that week. And so just different little tidbits like this of, okay, that makes sense. So even if you're kind of like, well, I'm okay with, doing this and doing that. A lot of times just strengthening what you might not be doing consistently is a good place to start. And then you'll see, oh, well, actually, I don't need to waste time buying that gift card for my stylist's birthday. I could hand that off. Or I would like to know how many appointments weren't rebooked yesterday. And I would like to get that little message to pop up. Or, I would like to have a handbook created so that I have something tangible every time I have a new hire. So just things like that, even just ideas that you've had in your head of things that you want to do can actually get done. And it's done by a team, like you said, that is so passionate, really educated, and truly love to partner and become your external support team.
Right. Last time, a meeting last Tuesday, I had this bodacious idea. And I thought, gosh, I just don't know if they're going to be able to do it. But I put it out there, and Jude, who is my rock star, he goes, yeah, I can do that. I'm like, seriously? You can do that? And it just made my day. My heart almost exploded out of my chest. I was so excited. And so it's great to have this team of experts, because reality is none of us. I mean, we may all think we're the bomb.com, but none of us are experts at everything. None of us can possibly do everything and give 100% and have any quality of life. So I would like to know, what is the one mindset shift that you believe would change everything for the business owner watching today?
Lauren, with that bottleneck, and to partner with what Lucy shared, even starting from the concepts of campaign creation and consistency across a promotion, for example, to piggyback off of that, and that mindset shift is not just what should I be delegating, because strategic people and doers and passionate, detail-oriented folks who own businesses, they usually have a lot of drive. And so this is not just about delegating and then leaving the blank space, although I do invite you to maybe have a little bit of that and carve it out. But to cooperate with all the consistency in the campaigns, consider the amount of leadership. That mindset shift is, I am going to lead my team. I am a CEO now. A CEO doesn't do all of the market research and the comparisons and check out everything else. They get a prospectus. They get an overview. They get a briefing. They have their board meet with them like you do every Tuesday. And they get the info dump. They come up with a big picture and the strategy, and then they look at the big picture instead of fine-tooth comb. So I like to see a summary. I like to get the executive report. So I know what's happening at a top level in my business, and I have specifics that I want to do. And that mindset shift is, what kind of leader can I be once I release some of these other things? Okay. So superheroes have capes, but if we get in our own way, we start to strangle ourselves on accident with all of the capes we're wearing. And so to really fly as that superhero. And as Lucy was talking about, the strategies around retail campaigns, that's one component of getting the ball rolling. But the momentum and the thing that I've seen make the biggest difference with my team is consistent one-on-ones, consistent check-ins, understanding what is it that you need, Lauren, to succeed in this, or what is that thing on the other side of your retail goal that we're going to unlock. So I'm going to connect with you as a person. And that's really what you can unlock when you begin to delegate. It's like removing so much fog and overwhelm, so you can really focus on leadership. And that mindset shift for anybody watching who's a business owner right now, it's not just great, I'm more efficient, or superb, I've now delegated to somebody offsite who I don't have to pay taxes for and payroll and all the benefits and things. But now I can actually focus on like what our champions are having that they know they need to coach on in their own teams internally. And then we can really, that consistency piece is, we've got everything on the back end in the business running this way, and the rest of the way you as a leader can help connect with your team and carry them forward. To me, that's the biggest mindset shift. And that's honestly what moved my percentages into the double and triple for my retail was taking the time to coach my team. It wasn't just more ads that helped. That was planting the seed, but then I had to water it and nurture it and be consistent. And that was the leadership piece.
Got it. So delegation, consistency, and awareness. That's kind of what I heard. If I had to put it into 3 words.
I wanted to know I got on today because I wanted to investigate this, especially on the marketing part and the social media part. That's just what I think I need help because marketing takes a lot of my time. I know what to do. I need more than 24 hours to cover it. So if I get somebody to do something right now for me, I know exactly where I want them to focus on. And I was just typing a question oh, okay, I think somebody put an answer.
Yeah. Yes.
About the
We
packages.
definitely have different packages available. And so just, getting on a quick call if you want to fill out that form and we can talk
Okay.
about, the marketing things that you specifically want to do.
I think for each of you, if you could put into one sentence, what do you want every salon owner to walk away from this conversation believing about themselves and their business? In one sentence, what do you want them to believe about themselves and their business?
I've got my sentence.
All right, bring it on.
Liberation and prosperity are possible.
Wow, beautiful. Okay, I love that. And that was Heather, correct? All right, Lucy, can't wait to hear yours.
Yes, definitely. I would say I loved how she said liberation. But I think also just having a pulse on, just having a really good pulse and just being excited about what you're doing again too, because so often we'll talk to salon owners and they just feel very discouraged or just not as excited about what they're doing because they're being pulled in so many directions. And so just getting that excitement back has been really, really fun to see.
Yeah, well, it all sounds so familiar. And I have to tell you at the beginning, Heather, when you were sharing about, laying in a fetal position, having major anxiety attacks, I know well what that looks and feels like. But, we have such a passion and a purpose for what we do, that at the end of the day is what drives us. But what I would want to leave everyone with is I believe we really can have it all. We just can't do it with what we currently know or with what we're currently doing. And it took a lot for me to let go of the reins and to trust people from across the world that I didn't even know to really run with our brand, with our voice. And it took a little bit, but we got it to the finish line. And I got to tell you, I've really been telling people lately, I don't know what's happened to me, but I don't have this sense of overwhelm anymore or anxiety or stress. I don't know what happened to it. And I don't think it was one thing. I think I work on different things. But I realized in preparing for today, I realized, you know what? Having this team has really made a difference for me. And it's freed me up to have much more time with my beautiful husband, Todd, and to go out and spend time with friends, which I just didn't have before. And so it's been a game changer. And it feels a little weird because I think, we might get a little bit addicted to the craziness. And when it's not there, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. I don't know if I can live like this. It's a getting used to process. But before we wrap up, I just want to bring this full circle because this really comes down to one thing. And that is you don't have to carry it all anymore. So if you are listening today and you recognize yourself in any part of this conversation, the overwhelm, the exhaustion, the feeling of doing everything alone, I want you to hear this clearly. There is another way to build your business. And it's getting a team that will get you to your dream. All of us have dreams. What I can tell you with certainty, because I've trained, mentored, and coached thousands, none of us can get to our dream alone. Many have tried and failed greatly, just like nobody will ever climb Mount Everest alone. It takes a very committed team of people. So getting a partnership like Spark on board, getting with your coach, getting all these partners that can get you to the top of your mountain, that can get you to your finish line in the fastest, the most efficient manner. That is what makes our life easier. That is what brings us more joy, more peace of mind, more feeling in more control of our life instead of out of control. And so, Heather and Lucy, you have shown us today that delegation is not about losing control. It's about gaining your life back. And that was a gift you gave all of us. So if something in this conversation spoke to you, don't ignore it. That is that inner voice crying out for help. I don't want to live like this anymore. And just remember, suffering is optional. I want you to write that down. Suffering is optional. Sometimes we, as the owner of the business, we have to have the courage and we have to have the wisdom to know when it's time to take the next step, to know when it's time to get support, to know when it's time to start those vital conversations, and to not have to be stuck in the world of, oh my God, but how am I going to do it? How am I going to find the time to do it? Don't focus on the how, focus on the what you want, and the how will come. Because your next level of leadership, it's not waiting on more hours. It's waiting on a different way of operating. And it's got to start with you. Everything starts with you. So if you're ready to stop being the bottleneck and to start building with real support, you can schedule a free consultation with the Spark Pro Global team. That is where it started with me. I was in a great place of desperation, had lost a major team member who almost died 3 times, and now is lifetime handicapped, cannot come back to work. She was doing 60% of everything that Inspiring Champions did. And when that was suddenly taken away from us, it almost shut the company down, not being able to even see how can we possibly teach someone all of this. It was so many different things, and we had no access to her. We realized everything was in her head. Everything was in her computer. She had no access to her computer. She was in the ICU for 8 weeks and then in rehabilitation for 6 months. And we were lost. And I don't want that to happen to anyone. It was the most horrible feeling in the world that I never want to experience. And what I learned is never have one person doing something that you don't have someone else trained on. That was one of my biggest lessons. But I remember sitting in that room in Atlanta, Georgia, and I remember you, Heather, being up on stage and talking. And I was like, all I was thinking about is, okay, I'm here about how to grow your business. And all my mind was thinking about is, no, how do I shut mine down? Because we don't have the resources to keep it going. And when you got up there, God said, there's your help. And I remember pulling you and Lucy outside and going, look, I don't know if you can help me, but let me tell you what's going on. And this is what I need. I need this. I was very specific. Can you help me? And you looked at me and said, you know what? Let's do a consultation. Let me put a proposal together and let us see if we are a solution. And I am so grateful for that day, because you saved our company. I don't think Inspiring Champions would be here if we hadn't found you. And so I thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you've done for my life, what you've done for our clients, and what you've provided me with, because when I could see no way, the door opened with a way. And I don't know what it's going to be like for everyone else, but I do know what it's been like for me, and it saved us. And I am forever grateful. So truly, on behalf of Inspiring Champions and Spark Pro Global, I thank each and every one of you, amazing, extraordinary leaders, for who you are, for what you do every day, for what you give up every day to be there and to help others. And I thank you for joining us today. I hope that this has been insightful and it is giving you some things to think about and some vehicles and tools to begin moving you forward. So it has been a great honor to serve you. And Lucy and Heather, any closing words to our fabulous attendees?
Thank you, Lauren, for sharing that. It is a humbling privilege that you've allowed us into your life and your business. And I know how much you support and help other people. So to know that the support that we provide through Spark and our team, that it's been able to help you continue your legacy work and other people to unlock their own leadership and legacy is the greatest joy that I have. So thank you so much. I'm really, really thankful that you guys have been here to attend and to watch it and also for having us. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. You ladies are amazing. Keep up the great work you're doing. You truly are making a difference. And to all of you, thank you so much for joining us. And I am just sending you abundance, prosperity, profit, delegation, peace of mind, calmness, joy, and happiness. Love, all the things each and every one of you truly deserve every minute of every day. So thank you for being with us today. Bye, everybody. Mwah.